This is Lisa, and this is task number 2. We're going to be reading a packed cell volume and a total protein off of a patient here. So I have all my supplies I need right here. I'm wearing my gloves. I have 2 capillary tubes right here that we're going to be filling. I have the EDTA tube here with the patient's information. I have laboratory wipes for wiping off the capillary tubes when we're all done. And so we'll go ahead and start with mixing this with 4 to 6 gentle inversions here. Okay, so we'll take off the cap. We'll go ahead and fill our capillary tubes 3 to 4 way full with the patient's blood. Okay, go ahead and wipe off the excess. Wipe off the outside of the blood with a tissue, and then we'll go ahead and seal the end of it with clay. We'll do it several times to make sure that there's a good plug in it. And then I'll go ahead and put this in slot number 16. Grab our second capillary tube, fill this one with the same amount. Wipe off the excess. Clean off the outside with the tissue. And then go ahead and depress this one into the clay as well several times. Form a good plug. And then put this one in slot number 16 as well. Is it still recording? Okay, good. Put the cap back on. And then we don't have a micro hematocrit centrifuge here, so I'm having to improvise a little bit. And what I'm going to do is place our capillary tubes into plain white top tubes here to go into our centrifuge. So I'll do that, and then I can put it on the appropriate number of RPMs and time as well. So I'll go ahead and put it in our centrifuge. Balance these out by putting these on opposite ends of each other. I'm going to turn this to 1500 RPMs, which will be at 3 minutes. Set this for 3 minutes as well. Set our timer. And we'll go ahead and spin this down for 3 minutes. And then we will, I'm going to go ahead and discuss with you a microhematocrit centrifuge to let you know how, that I'm proficient in knowing how to use that, even when we don't have it here. Alright, so this is Lisa, and this is the continuation of task number 2. I just want to explain the microhematocrit centrifuge to you since we don't have it in our hospital. The last hospital that I worked at, we did have it there, so I just want to demonstrate that I'm proficient in knowing how to use it. But I have a picture right here in my book of the microhematocrit centrifuge here. And basically what it is, it's specialized to hold these capillary blood tubes. They go into those skinny little slots there on opposite ends of each other so that it's balanced out perfectly. And then the one that I used, we would put a metal plate on top of both, on top of it, and it would cover the whole capillary tubes, and then we'd actually screw it down into place. And then at that point, we would be able to spin our capillary blood tubes. And then we'd do it for the appropriate time and RPMs and everything. So that's basically a microhematocrit centrifuge, which is a little bit different from our centrifuge. So I just want to explain that I know how to use those. I've used them before, but we're going to go ahead and just use what we have today here in hospital. Thank you. Okay, so this is the continuation of task number 2, obtaining our packed cell volume and total protein results. So our timer just went off, so we're ready to take our samples out of the centrifuge here. So go ahead and remove our sample. And so I'll just go ahead and look for signs of leukemia or hemolysis, which I don't see here. So we'll go ahead and read our results for the packed cell volume. So I have a card reader here, so I'm going to go ahead and line the top of the clay, and then the top of the serum to the lines, and so I can go ahead and read my result. So I've done that here. It's a little dark in here because we have a euthanasia, so it's hard to see in the camera. But the result is I'm reading at right above the Buffy coat, which is at 50%. So I'll go ahead and record that in my patient's record right here. So we're at 50% for Paxil volume. And then what I can do is go ahead and score my capillary tube with a microscope slide above, well above the Buffy coat, so it's easier to snap in half. And then I'll go ahead and snap it in half. This is for our total protein sample. Make sure there's not any glass shards at the end of the tube. And I can go ahead and tap the serum onto the refractometer without actually touching it. We just need a drop of the serum there, and make sure that there's no cellular components of the Buffy coat or any glass shards. We'll go ahead and drop this, and then I can go ahead and read my result. I'll hold it up to the light, and so I'm getting reading of about 7.4, and so I'll go ahead and pass it to my preceptor. She'll go ahead and confirm that for me.
You're correct.
And so then I'll go ahead and record that in my patient's record at 7.4 mgs per deciliter. And then we can go ahead and clean off the refractometer with water for the next patient's use. Go ahead and dry it off with a laboratory wipe. And I'll just I'll sit it in here and let it air dry. And that is obtaining Paxil volume and total protein. This is a continuation of task number 2 of reading the total protein on the refractometer. And so I just want to specify what I was looking at inside the refractometer. Not all of them look like this, but this is the one I have in the book for an example. But inside, when you put your eye up to the refractometer and hold it up to the light, you'll see 2 different sections. You'll see your specific gravity for your urine, and then you'll see another line for your total protein results here. So you're only going to be using this line here if you're reading urine, and then this one, what we did just now, is the total protein. And so you get your reading from wherever this line is here, where the light meets the dark, and then that's where you would get your reading at. Mine, the one that I read, was at the 7 and then up 2 dashes, so it was 7.4 mgs per deciliter.